So Will Smith recently said that he might.
Sense.
I've heard some interesting rumors about Will Smith. We all have. And I can't really go into these rumors right now because Will Smith will probably sue me. But I have been told some very interesting stuff about Will Smith over the years. And these came from fairly reliable sources. And if Will Smith goes into politics, God knows all that's getting dug up.
Unless
So
he's the hand-picked candidate by powers that be, and they will actively help him to suppress this information, then he's good money. He'll be like, how did that not come out? We've been hearing this shit for years. That's because this man was handpicked by the motherfuckers that pick presidents to be president. The fact that he's even talking about it, maybe they picked him already for whatever year down the road, and they're just planting the seed now. What's so crazy is people who don't plan things seem astounded when they see planners who plan well into the future. You know, you don't even plan your week out. You can't conceive how another man might have a plan that's like a 50-year plan or a 100-year plan. Like, that sounds crazy. That's because you're not a planner. For people who are used to doing plans come in different configuration. 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, your 20-year plan. There's all different kinds of plans out here. So he's probably part of somebody's 10 to 20-year plan. And they're planting the seed now.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people that I talk to really don't understand how unbelievably powerful time is. So, for example, when I first started having some money come in, and I started looking into, okay, what am I going to do to invest this little bit of money that I got? And I started looking around, and I found Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett is considered the greatest investor of all time because he's made more money in stocks than anyone else in the history of the world. And the way Warren Buffett has made his money is He finds a company, a great company, like for example Coca-Cola. He invested in Coca-Cola in I believe the 70s or early 80s, American Express and so forth. He bought it, and he's kept the stock forever. He's literally kept some of these stocks for 30 or 40 years. And these millions of dollars that he put in back then is now worth billions of dollars. But when I speak to people and when I tell them, and this is what I do with my stocks. For example, like I've had Nike stock since 2011. I've had Google stock since 2011. I've never sold it. I've always bought more, depending on what the price is, but I've kept it forever. And when I try to explain what I'm doing, no one really seems to understand. Like, nah, man, you need to flip that, you need to sell this. And it's like, nah, like the whole point of what I do is because of the time aspect of it. And all the stuff that I bought back then is worth 2 and 3 times what I paid back then. Because it's time. The concept of time will ultimately make you win if you accept it for what it is. But no one wants to accept the concept of time. Everyone wants the quick flip.
Well, see, here's the thing, though, especially when you come from a certain type of background, especially being a young black man in America, time is one of the things you don't think you have. You don't believe that you got time to sit on some fucking stock for 30 years. And nigga, you might not live past 25. How the fuck I'm gonna do that? Flip this shit now. I need this paper now. So when they put you in certain conditions that don't allow you, that way you don't believe you even have a future. You don't believe that you're gonna be even living this long to even do shit like that. That's why a lot of motherfuckers don't do shit like that. And even when they transcend from the street, let's say, to being a rapper or some sort of entertainer, sports dude, whatever, you still have that type of mentality with you that's been implanted in your mind. Man, let me live for the moment, man. Might not be here tomorrow. So fuck these 30-year plans and sitting on your money and all this type of shit. And that's a component that a lot of other people don't have to go through here in America. Like, that's something very specific.
How you know this morning?
A lot of black and like Latino motherfuckers here in America.
Pretty good. I cut grass yesterday and I have like some kind of rash on me now. I don't know what I touched or what got on me, but my arm is itching right here and like right here. I could barely sleep last night. I kept rolling over, scratching like, what the fuck is this? I hope I ain't got poison ivy, yo. But I think poison ivy probably would have spread faster than that. And then plus, like, I don't think poison ivy just gonna come out of nowhere. Cause I've cut the grass before and this has never happened, but I don't know, I just got this weird ass rash yesterday. And it's itchy as hell. I'm trying so hard not to scratch it. I'm trying so hard not to scratch it. MB, might need some more pictures. They don't have to be nudes, but I do want to, I probably want to paint you one more time. I was going to do the other picture. Fuck! But I was drawing, the other ones you sent me, I was drawing those in my sketch pad. I want something else to put on canvas. Something big and pretty like this of just you. Just like, I'm so pretty. No, it's dying. Come on, come on, come on. Just one fucking flame, bitch. Just one. You mother. Fuck you. I swear, yo. Chris, what up? Wow. These bics are pretty good, but yeah, that bad boy is all the way. Oh, oh, it had a one flame for 1 second. Oh well. Kind of hit me hard just now, like right in here. I know, right? I got some. I thought I had some anti-itch ointment. Let me go grab some real quick, cause it is really annoying. It's aggravating the hell out of me right now.
Sure, it applies for some white people, but disproportionately it applies to us, and that's a problem.
Big problem. It's a big problem because I've been carefully studying the stock market now for 5 years now, and the entities that move the stock market are the entities that have been around multi-generational amounts of time. So, for example, like the fireman's retirement fund, that's been around for 200 years or something like that. They've been using this concept of investing in companies and letting the companies grow and reinvesting the dividends and using compound interest and stuff like that. They've been using this for hundreds of years, and this is why they're worth billions of dollars. Like when you see someone who's becomes a billionaire in their own lifetime, it's amazing. There's only like 300, like how many billionaires are there in this world? Let me see.
Or in the world?
In the world. There's a total, in the 2014 billionaire list, there is 1,645 people that are billionaires on this planet.
Right. And now how many people exist on the planet?
How many people in 7.125 billion. So let's just say, let's just take this number.
So 1,600 people have the majority of the money of how many billion?
What did I say? I said 7.
0.25 billion?
Yeah, 7.125 billion. So let's just take 1645 divided by 7.125. Just get the zeros right. Zeros here. Okay.
It's probably less than 1%.
Oh, it's not even 1%.
Yeah, not even a percentage of a percent.
It's like 0.000002 people
Right.
are billionaires. You're talking about a fucking unicorn right here. You're talking about something
exactly
that does not exist. And then you have to really then divvy up those people to see how many of those people had that money inherited from their families. Like how many of these people are like, for example,
multi-generational billionaires.
Like there's the Rockefellers, there's the Sheiks, there's
Vanderbilts.
For example, like the Vanderbilts, the Waltons. The Waltons clearly did not build their wealth themselves. Their father started Walmart, and then his kids inherited that, and they became billionaires because of what their father did. Now, granted, they've been able to maintain and grow it. I take nothing away from them, but I'm saying people look at things very differently. Like me being in my 40s, and I see everyone trying to be, rich by the time they're 20, rich by the time they're 30. Like that's probably not going to happen. You should really look at being rich by the time you're 40 or 50. That's a little bit more realistic, but no one wants to accept that. Everyone wants to get that quick money flip. Just like Fetty Wap said, all fast money, no slow bucks. Well, Fetty Wap is actually, he has videos of himself literally throwing money away, throwing money out the window, that type of thing. Like, it's, and just the concept of making it rain in the strip club, and, you get props for throwing money away, for burning money. I rolled a joint with this $100 bill.
Right.
This is not celebrated in all cultures. This is almost a hip hop thing.
First of
You
all,
don't see-
it's not celebrated by rich people at all. Like I just put up some shit on my Twitter the other day, and I was like, why do these motherfuckers take a picture with a fucking stack of money to their ear like it's a fucking phone? Like, what the fuck is that about? Like, what do you think the money's calling you and saying? Because whatever the fuck it's saying, it ain't no good. Trust me. Like, that's some of the stupidest shit I ever fucking seen in my life. And
50,
I saw something, right? They said your man
Hold on,
Pablo
hold on.
Escobar.
Not really. You are my favorite muse. It don't matter what you give me. It works. If you could be outside, that'd be nice. If it's a nice day, you can have like, I don't know, some green and trees and sunshine or something like that. But if not, all your pics look good. Oh, me and MB gonna be famous. They gonna be like, why you paint her so much? That's my Mona Lisa, motherfuckers. Y'all can't see that shit? Mona Lisa, bitch. Yeah, black people weird with money, yo. We don't invest it. We don't spend it amongst ourselves. When we get what we consider to be too much money, we make it rain and throw it away and just give it to motherfuckers. Like, you're not being very smart right now. When I got a little piece of change, I bought a house. Fuck that shit. I got some money. Man, let me go buy this house real quick. Fuck. So I can have somewhere to live and invest in this shit. Now I should get a couple of stocks. I really, really want to invest in Tesla, yo. And just get like 10 shares of Tesla stocks. Because the motherfucker's a genius and Tesla is a powerhouse and they're not going anywhere. And Tesla is setting the new standard for the automotive industry with all their technology advancements in their vehicles. Like, it's fucking crazy, yo. I want to be a part of that fucking company, yo. Great, thank you. I need to I need to get photographing too. I need to take a couple more photographs because since I haven't done it in a while, I'm going to paint myself again. I got some sexy bathroom shots. Ooh. I think I did start one more drawing. Who wanna look through my private camera roll? Boy, the things y'all may see and hear. Lord, that shit be surprising me. Like, I really should delete that shit. But that shit look crazy. Ooh. Can I show them? It ain't no nudity or nothing. None of these are nudes, but so pretty. Ooh. Watch out now. Ooh, shit. Alright, that's enough. Y'all don't need to see no more of that. It's my private camera roll over here. Ooh. What was I talking about? Alright. Alright. Mm. Oh, guess what, guys? Man, that's why I sold a motherfucking painting, yo. Yeah, I sold a painting. Y'all want to know which one I sold? Over here, text me, said, man, I got your check written out. Come pick it up tomorrow. So this is going in someone's private collection. This is actually a $15,000 painting, but since I can't charge like that right now, I gotta let it go for what I can get for it. I ain't gonna lie, I might paint this shit again, yo. This one of my favorite paints. I'm feeling like I ain't charging enough for this shit. Honestly. Yeah, so let's say you want it. Oh well. Oh well. Yo. Oi, oi, oi. Damn, I'm really thinking about this shit now. Like, yo, I don't want to give it up. What size is this? I definitely might have to paint this one again, yo. That shit right here is too hot, yo. It's too hot. And that don't right. Sons of bitch. Hmm. I can't remember if I did this painting this year or last year. So I'll see when I posted it on Instagram. Wow. This piece is kind of old, y'all. I did this last October. I gotta find this painting again, this picture again. What were we listening to? I cannot. Oh, we was listening to Lord Jarmir on Vlad TV. Yo, Vlad be interviewing a lot of good people, yo.
It's on E, but I need to get to work.
A book. No matter what that book is, whether it's Shakespeare, it's an old line, it's something the rays of our greatest fortune is juxtaposed in them, or any other written word that you digest or ingest, you have to question it because it was written by another man, another human being. And no one man has all the answers.
Right.
A lot of people take the Bible face value that it's God's word, but nobody's looking in the upper left-hand corner of that page. It says the book of Timothy. Timothy was a man, so it's written by a man. Now, what is told to us is that it was under the inspiration of the heavens. God inspired them to write the book.
Who know who this is? Who can tell who voice this is, yo? Cause I've been on my man since I was a young boy. Like he always been a cool dude to me, but he a celebrity type motherfucker. Well, who can tell who voice that is?
Now let's do the definition of the word inspiration. I can inspire another young comedian to want to do comedy, but it's everything I do, the butt-naked truth and the laws of the universe. As Richard Pryor inspired me to do comedy, but do I really want to follow everything he did? Because if I did, I'd set myself on fire and be smoking crack. So all of us are dual examples. There's certain parts of Eddie Griffin that you can follow to the letter and it'll be success. Then there's other parts of my life you want to stay the hell away from. Because trust me, if you jumped in my shoes, you...
Yo, and this motherfucker ain't no dummy, yo. Yo, Eddie, that motherfucker smart as shit, yo. And that's why he's had a successful career. You ain't never hear no bullshit about him. Like he said, if I follow exactly what he did, I'll set myself on fire and smoke crack, nigga. Like that ain't me. And like Eddie Griffin, he just, I don't know. Like I say, he just always been that cool, like low key. I think he kind of underrated a little bit, in my opinion. But he's had several hit movies, couple TV shows, and his stand-ups. Like he's had I think he had a pretty decent career. That motherfucker maneuvered through the whole game like you ain't never really had no bullshit about him. You know what I'm saying? No negative shit, yo. It's hard to be in that industry for all them years and not get caught up with some shit. That's kind of like Dave Chappelle. Like he another one who was able like to maneuver through that shit and still come out on the other end clean. Like, whoo, nigga, y'all tried to get me, boy. Like I ain't never fall for the okie doke. Like I remember one bit Chappelle was talking about one movie they tried to make him wear a dress or something. He was like, hell nah, you're not putting me in a dress. And I think Eddie Griffin said something similar. Like they tried to get him to wear a dress or something. He was like, fuck that. Like, nah. But the motherfuckers who do put them dresses on, hell, even Wesley Snipes dressed up as a woman one time. Martin, Tyler Perry, Eddie Murphy, like they get all the men to dress up like fucking women, yo. But like you ain't never seen Eddie Griffin in no fucking dress with no makeup and shit on like that. Motherfucker dip and dodge all that shit. Like, whoa, you trying to get me to do what? Like, you ever seen Denzel Washington wear a motherfucking dress? Like, nah. Like, certain motherfuckers just can get through that shit. But everybody can't.
Fuck right back out. No, nigga, I don't want to be you. You understand? So, the truth of the matter is individual. Your truth will never be my truth. There is a basic butt-naked correlating truth that goes through all humanity. But then we all find our individual truth in this journey called life. Lesbians are just as important as a homosexual, as is a straight person. A man's objectivity and perception of what he brings to the table is no more important than a female's objectivity and what she brings to the table. She brings education and nurture. We bring 2 P's, provide and protect. That is the nature of our being. We leave our houses when we feel like we're not providing and we're not protecting because we don't feel like a man in. You just took my 2 nuts. One is provide, one is protect. When you make me feel like I'm not providing and I'm not protecting, I don't want to stay in the house because I'm not a man no more. A woman will leave the house when she feels like she's not educating the children and nurturing their existence. She'll get up and leave because you took that from her, which is her basic mode of operation.
Unexpected phenomena continue to break out.
So what is true? It's individual to the individual's experience in life. Find your truth and stop running around with a book that says it's the truth and love the reality. Because if you truly understand the entity known as God, Jehovah, Allah, whatever name you want to stick on it, the great IT never would be that big an asshole where he wouldn't understand his entire creation will always find his individual truth. Because he gave you that right to do so. It's called choice. That's what separates us from basic animals. A lion doesn't have a choice in a decision in being a lion. It's a lion. When it's hungry, it's gonna kill, it's gonna eat. After it eat, you can lay right next to that motherfucker. It ain't gonna hurt you. Because it's taking care of its basic nature. It doesn't have a choice. An insect is going to do what it is designed to do, programmed to do. So anybody that thinks there's not a master designer, all life has a program and how it works in the ecosystem.
Man, that's the whole agenda right there, bro. And now what's the ultimate end goal or the end game for the homosexuality agenda? I really don't know. But it does seem like to be picking up more steam. Whites want to be blacks. No, whites want to be black in culture. And that's it. They don't. Yo, Lo, check this out. I don't know if y'all saw this, but. Yeah. Yo, my own Facebook page, bro. Watch now, watch. Yo, a Hawaiian man shows up to court wearing blackface to protest being treated like a black person. Yo, you can't make this shit up,
Join
man.
the fucking fan club. Every dollar that you
Yeah. What?
Filter.com, you can make this possible. Non-black people losing their mind. Mark Char, a Hawaiian man, was in court to be sentenced after being convicted for a vicious road rage attack. Y'all literally showed up in court in blackface. He said it was to protest being treated like a black man.
The reason why I did this is because I prepared myself to play my part in your kangaroo court, treating me like a black man, so today I'm going to be a black man. This kangaroo court is giving me a life sentence for me trying to protect and defend myself against the attack from 3 guys. In essence, treating me like a black man.
Y'all, Charles was found guilty in March of attempted.
Yo, wait. Yo. Not on his special holiday. Wait a minute. Yo, it's a marker, bro. It's a marker. It's not even like good women's makeup or nothing. He just took a marker and just scribbled it all on his face. Wait a minute. Wait. I got hit. Yeah, but listen how he describes it. He said, for defending himself against the attackers, y'all want to give me life in jail? Y'all treat me like a black man.
My man was in court to be sentenced after being convicted for a vicious road rage attack. Y'all literally showed up in court in blackface. He said it was to protest being treated like a black man.
The reason why I'm like this is because I prepared myself to play my part in your kangaroo court, treating me like a black man, so today I'm going to be a black man. This kangaroo court is giving me a life sentence for me trying to protect and defend myself against the attack from 3 guys. In essence, treating me like a black man.
Y'all, Charles was found guilty in March of attempted murder and assault for stabbing 3 men when he was cut off on a freeway in 2016. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole.
The idea that it's an insult to the court to show up in black face. I mean, and then to use a permanent marker.
Right.
And to argue.
How's that?
So if you look like you're black, and that didn't even look like black, but if you look like you're black, he wanted to show
How you pulled a black card and you not even black? In essence, treating me like a black man. There's so much wrong with that. It's so much. We just gotta laugh at it, bro. Yeah.
to be treated as a black man,
Right, which is basically saying, how dare you? I ain't black.
Do you know how many lights
y'all sending me to jail? Yeah, we going to send your punk ass to jail. As if white folks and non-black people don't do some stupid ish.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make sense. I wasn't sure what he was trying to get at. And I know he certainly wasn't looking for leniency from the judge by doing that. Judges tend to not like those kinds of stunts.
Yeah.
So
he didn't. The judge actually had some remarks at the end.
So he's where he probably deserves to be.
And wait till you.
And good luck washing that permanent marker off.
Yeah, and I hope till you get to jail. I hope you meet some brothers in.
I mean, if he were really a black man, he would have made it out alive on that highway after stabbing 3 people.
See, now I see. Now why you
get him started?
Now why you want to go? Why you want to go ahead and point that kind of stuff out?
All right, folks, I'm going to my unfiltered video in just one moment.
All right, y'all. They're back. MarijuanaStock.org is another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in the last crowdfunding campaign, they raised a bunch.
That's another stock to invest in. It's going to be on the rise. Yo, y'all listen to Kenneth Copeland get question on why he said he don't want to ride on on regular flights, yo. Why he need his private jet, yo? And he say he brought his jet from Tyler Perry. Yo, D1, you old as fuck. I mean, me and you about the same age. Yo, you remember the show Miami Vice? I know you remember Miami Vice. Everybody remember that shit, yo. It's the black and white cop. So the white cop on the show, what was his name in real life, yo? Anyway, I used to work for a motherfucker back in the day. He bought that dude's private jet from him. Somehow him and that motherfucker was homies for a couple years, and he was selling one of his planes, and the dude I worked for bought that shit off his ass. I was like, you got that shit from who? He was like, yeah, he used to be an actor in the 80s on Miami Vice. He's just selling off some of his toys. I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, that cool. Don Johnson. Yeah, the white cop. Yeah, that's the other. Yeah, that was the other guy, yeah. Yeah, he bought the plane from Don Johnson. How the fuck you know Don Johnson? It was something like... Because I had to ask him that shit, bro. But he said in-laws and shit or whatever. His sister, brother married his somebody in family, and they're just in-laws now. I was like, damn. Don Johnson is your in-law? All that 7 degrees of separation. I know somebody else who in-laws with like some rich motherfuckers. The one of the most popular brands of nuts. Like pistachio. I know I buy the pistachios all the time. I can't even think of the fucking brand name now. I remember I was at work. This been years ago, and I come in there with a little bag of pistachios, and the dude was like, "Oh, thanks for supporting the family." I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, my wife's cousin owns that company." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." He was like, "No, seriously, my wife's cousin does own that company." I'm like, "Word? That's crazy as fuck, yo." What's the name of the fucking pistachio shit? Anyway. Yeah, if y'all ain't seen that, yo, his eyes were kind of weird. That's what I agree to say, man. If y'all ain't seen that Kenneth Copeland shit, I'm gonna just play this shit, yo. I had to post this on my Facebook. Yo, my Facebook be weird as shit, yo. That's why I don't let certain people in on my Facebook. Like, you gotta really, really know me for a while. Like, get to know me, have some conversations with me, and then you can look at my Facebook. Because if you just met me and be like, oh, let's be Facebook friends, you can be like, yo, this motherfucker racist as shit, son. So I'm not racist. I'm just focused on certain issues. Alright, let's watch this first, and then we're gonna watch that Copeland Joe.
When people think of Phoenix, what do they think of? Well, no one actually thinks of Phoenix, but if they
I post all this shit on my Facebook page.
What would they think of? It would probably be the extreme heat, or a college you can graduate from in 3 weeks, or the fact that the city's basketball team has the world's most random mascots. Yeah, seriously, how do you pick a gorilla when you're the Phoenix Suns? All right, you could have been a phoenix, or you could have been a sun. A gorilla makes no sense. Even Gritty makes more sense, because that's how you look if you spend your whole life in Philly eating cheesesteaks. All right, but the gorilla makes no sense. But Phoenix has also started to become notorious for how bad its police force is, with a record 44 police shootings last year. Yeah, more than any other large city in America. And now, thanks to cell phone video, we get to see it for ourselves.
Growing outrage tonight after an extreme reaction from Phoenix police to a little girl swiping a doll.
Cops in Phoenix threaten Aisha Harper, a 24-year-old pregnant woman with her 2 young children by her side. The video starts after the family pulls up at their babysitters and are approached by police with guns drawn.
Phoenix police officers at times sounded like hitmen.
Get out the f***ing car! You are gonna get out the f***ing car right now!
Sweet Jesus. I'm gonna put a cap in your head. That's what the cop said. What happened to protect and serve? Like, I'm sorry, everything about that video is wrong. Not only is the cop screaming, like the woman is the one pointing a gun at him, but he's talking about busting caps like he's a lost member of NWA. There's no excuse for this. Like, there's no excuse. Unless maybe the cop says he arrests people in the way that he thinks that they speak. You know, maybe he's like, hey, yo, black man, get your ass on the ground. And as for you, I say, you better stop acting like a pendejo. And you, Belgian guy, I don't know how you speak. Waffles, waffles, waffles. Now, what makes this whole thing worse is that this family wasn't robbing a bank or holding people hostage. You know, this was the cops responding to a call about a 4-year-old who took a Barbie doll out of a dollar store without paying for it. Yeah. And, like, I'm sorry, guys, you don't need to show up like the SWAT team to rescue a Barbie from a little girl. If anything, you should be rescuing the little girl from the Barbie. You should be getting there like, little girl, watch out! That Barbie can give you a warped sense of what a woman's body is supposed to be! Barbie! Barbie, please! Don't do it, Barbie! Think about Ken and your dream house and that new job you just got as a scientist! And as traumatic as this experience was, thankfully, no one was shot. And honestly, I don't think it's because of the officers. I think it's because of the well-trained civilians who happened to be on the scene.
The woman behind this cell phone video asking to take the kids.
Oh, look at these kids. Can I get the babies? Excuse me? Can I get the kids?
Even the bystanders, you can hear them saying, calm down to the police.
Hey, whoa, sir, come down. Yeah, could someone just, defuse the situation here?
I'm sorry, guys, but this is ridiculous. How do civilians know how to act like the police better than police know how to act like the police? How? Because this guy's next to the cop, holding his phone, but instead of panicking, he's trying to calm things down. I mean, he's even using the language cops are supposed to be thinking about.
Yeah, that's that shit, yo. Walking out of Walmart, can I see your receipt? You paid for that, sir. Well, look here, bro. If you didn't make me check out my own fucking groceries, you would know if I did or did not pay for this. And as a matter of fact, I didn't pay for 1 case of soda, and I didn't swipe my deodorant, which you didn't seem to notice. So you gotta go to Walmart, go to the Super Walmart on night shift, like 12:30 to 1 o'clock, when the motherfuckers don't give a damn. Or like even early in the morning, like 5, when they really about to get off work, they shift in like 6 o'clock or something like that. They ready to go home. Them motherfuckers don't give a damn. They don't be looking. I'm just saying, I really never have done that, but I could imagine that people at Walmart really don't give a fuck about their job. Like dude, I just work here. But I've seen some Walmart super cops, Walmart security, hey, you, and get in a fight with motherfuckers and shit because somebody didn't want to show them their receipt and start grabbing on the motherfucker. Like, bitch, I swear to God, I could even imagine if somebody at a Walmart employee put their hands on me trying to stop me from leaving the store. Like, bitch, I will knock you the fuck out, yo. Well, I done seen it happen, man. Walmart employees think they're a real police officer. You follow me around this whole time and then check my receipt. Get the fuck out of here. Hey, yo, put your fucking hands up. I'm gonna put a fucking cap in your fucking head. Whoa, officer.
Just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial. Why have you said that you won't fly commercial? You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
No, listen to me just a second. Not the people. The main reason is because of the need. If I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing. That's really the main.
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercial so that you can fly in luxury? How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business, but...
The business of your donors.
Listen, I paid. You kind of caught me off guard. Okay.
Certainly. Well, if you'd like to come out here, I'd like to give you a chance to catch your breath and have a conversation. We don't want to catch you off guard.
I love Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listen to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Thank you, Lord, help me. Thank you, Lord, help me. Yo, that motherfucker ain't had no words. He said a whole sentence. He said a whole sentence just now and ain't said nothing.
Luxury and to fly around in private jets.
Why I want to go back, yo? Hold on. Oh, hell. I messed it up, guys.
Forget that I had 2 liters of water before I moved.
Yeah, that was so weird.
To ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial.
the main reason of what I'm doing. That's really the main.
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercial so that you can fly in luxury? How much money did you pay for
Yo, he says, after he says, my wife thinks Inside Edition. My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah, Lord help me. Like, what the hell did you just say, yo?
But
isn't it the business of your donors?
Listen, I paid. You kind of caught me off guard here, okay?
Certainly. Well, if you'd like to come out here, I'd like to give you a chance to catch your breath and have a conversation. We don't want to catch you off guard.
I love Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listen to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah. Now, thank you, Lord, help me.
Well, let me just ask you a really simple question. A lot of people think it's unbecoming for a preacher to live a life of luxury and to fly around in private jets. What's your response to that?
Very simple. It takes a lot of money to do what we do. We have brought over 100, let's see, the latest figures just came out, 122 million people to the Lord Jesus Christ. Let me give you another example. Last May, I was scheduled for Lagos, Nigeria. That's a long ways. I had a week off, and I was scheduled for Peru. And I prayed about it, and I thought, I'm not missing that dedication in Jerusalem. Without the airplane that we have, that I bought from Tyler Perry, and I didn't pay anywhere. Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
Well, my question then, okay, all right, but I want to get to the demons, because people are very concerned about that comment.
Give me a chance here, Inside Edition. I love your eyes. And here's what happened.
That's crazy. Let it go to bully. Yeah, this motherfucker gone. He off his rocker. My wife thinks Inside Edition is oh boy, yeah. Thank you, Lord, help me. Somebody should take that little part and make that shit into a song. You know how they put it on a hot beat. Thank you, Lord, help me. Oh my damn! And Tyler Perry, he made that jet so. He's a good, he's a good man. What the fuck is you saying, bro? See, you can tell this motherfucker is not coached. He ain't coached for these questions. You should never question the preacher man about his finances. Why should I have answers prepared for motherfuckers who ask me this? And the way he's talking now, and he's basically saying nothing because he can't speak without Bible verses. And when he talks like a regular motherfucker, all that snake venom come out because he want to curse and he want to call her a bitch right now, but he know he can't. But he at the same time he can't recite passages because he not preaching. It's an interview. He's like, fuck. The numbers just came in. We bought 1 million followers of Christ. Lagos, Nigeria, and I prayed about it, and I thought to myself, well, if you praying about it, is you thinking to yourself, or is God talking to you? So, he can't hold a regular conversation without being a fucking devil. And that shit hurting him. And that shit come out a little bit because he kind of yelled and pointed his finger at her one time and his eyes flare up and it's like, yo, bro, chill.
Without the airplane that we have that I bought from Tyler Perry, and I didn't pay anywhere near. Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me I couldn't help but buy it.
Well, my question then, okay, all right, but I want to get to the demons because people are very concerned about that comment.
Give me a chance here, Inside Edition. I love your eyes. And here's what happened.
And see, this is how he charms all these low-level, low-thinking people who are still stuck in this religious paradigm, and he can talk like this to religious folks and know like their cognitive abilities is not gonna let them realize he a snake, because he can use that tone and quote them scriptures. But this motherfucker ain't said one thing of substance yet. Oh, come on, Inside Edition, give me a chance. I love your eyes. Man, charm don't get you no way when the motherfucker want to answer. Like, bitch, I'm trying to get a straight answer out of you, sir. Stop trying to charm me with compliments about my eyes. Lord, help me. This motherfucker's stupid.
Hey, all right, but I want to get to...
Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me I couldn't help but buy it.
Couldn't help but buy it.
Okay, all right.
Tyler's one of the...
Look how you say buy it.
He made that airplane so cheap for me I couldn't help but buy it.
Well, my question then...
I couldn't help but buy it.
Okay, all right, but I want to get to the demons because people are very concerned about that comment.
Give me a chance here, Inside Edition. I love your eyes. And here's what happened. We flew in 21 days, 70 hours, 40,000 miles, touched 5 continents, and preached face to face personally with 125,000 people.
Do you ever use your private jets to go visit your vacation homes, for example?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Again, getting back to the comment, you said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
There you go, right there. Oh my God, that motherfucker looks weird.
We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
Can you explain what you meant by that term then? Just explain.
Y'all probably
really
get a strike for this, but look how this.
But
believe that human beings are demons.
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
Can you explain what you meant by
we do not wrestle with flesh and blood, but with principalities and powers. What the fuck does that mean, bro? Why are you still speaking in parables, man? You said you don't want to get in a tube full of demons. What you talking about, man? What are you trying to say, bro? No, I do not. And don't you dare say that I did. You're creepy. You're creepy as shit, man. And you're what? A Christian? Jesus Christ.
that by that term then? Just explain, because it's really simple. You said you didn't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. What did you mean?
Well, let me ask you.
Do you think that people that fly commercial are demons?
Give me a chance to talk, sweetheart. I'll explain this to you.
Well, let me ask you. Would you give me a chance to talk, sweetheart, and I'd explain it to you? Nigga, she been asking you for 2 minutes. And you done went roundabout about how Tyler Perry's a good man and how many continents you done flown to in your new private jet and all this shit, and how your wife loves the show. But you ain't answering my damn question. Shit. What the fuck do you mean about you don't want to fly commercial because it's like getting in a tube full of demons? You think all your donators are demons? Because most people fly commercial. Most people don't have private jets.
But it's a biblical thing. It's a spiritual thing.
It's a biblical thing.
It doesn't have anything to do with people.
It doesn't have anything to do with people.
I love people. Jesus loves people. But people get pushed in alcohol. I love people.
He almost said the Bible loves people. He said, I love people. Jesus loves people. And he switched up. The Bible? You about to say the Bible loves people? Come on, bro. Get your shit together, man. You should have rehearsed this at least once.
Give me a chance to talk, sweetheart. I'll explain this to you. But it's a biblical thing. It's a spiritual thing. It doesn't have anything to do with people. People, I love people. Jesus loves people. But people get pushed in alcohol. Do you think that's a good place for a preacher to be and prepare to go preach to a lot of people? When somebody in there is dragging some woman down an aisle, it made me so mad to see that on television. I wanted to punch the guy out myself. I can't be doing that while I'm getting ready to preach.
So you just don't like to be around the sinful people or the hurtful people. Is that what you're saying?
Not the people, baby. Not the people. Back during the days that we couldn't do anything else, we had to travel commercial. When I went to Oral Roberts University, I flew for Oral Roberts. I'm a commercial pilot. So I spent a lot of time in airplanes.
You have how many planes?
We have the Gulfstream, and we still have our Citation II. And then we have a little small airplane. Both those are the two ones that we use, and we use them all the time. And other people use them too. We have other ministries that use them. In the book of Ephesians, oh God, I love this. We wrestle not with people, but with principalities and powers, unseen things, rulers of the darkness of this world. Talking about the devil, he's a very real devil, just the same as Jesus is a very real Lord. And I spent a lot of time on airlines. But the main thing that happened was that wasn't the main reason. The main reason was I could no longer do what I called to do and be on the airlines. Besides that, I need my clothes when I get there.
And you have some fancy clothes. I mean, for a pastor, you are living a life of luxury. You've got great homes, you've got great planes, you drive in limos, and
I'm a very wealthy man.
You're a very wealthy man.
Yes.
Yeah. And some people would say that is it appreciated?
May I add something to that? My wealth doesn't come from offerings alone.
Because you sell things, books and DVDs.
Yes. And I have a lot of natural gas on our property. Didn't know that, did you, baby?
Now I
Didn't know that, did you, baby?
Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that wonderful?
It's wonderful for you.
Back when.
And
I might add another thing.
We
invest from.
Back when I was in college, I flew on a lot of planes. Why you keep telling stories about heyday? I'm asking about right now. How many jets you got? Oh, we got this one. We got this one. We got this one. And we still got that little one. And we use them all the time. Other pastors use them. And see, back in the day, let me add this to it, too.
Let's see. I don't know the exact number on last year yet. But it will run something in the neighborhood of 25 million in the poor. Can't do that and be broke.
The final question is, a lot of people maybe have a misunderstanding then about what you do in prosperity preaching. So the final question is this. To those critics that say that a preacher should not be living a life of luxury, what is your response to that?
They're wrong.
That's it?
That it's a misunderstanding of the Bible that if you go into the Old Covenant, do you think the Jewish people believe you should be broke?
You about to blame it on the Jews?
Are you saying that Jewish people appreciate money more than... Really?
They believe in wealth.
Some people would find that offensive.
Wait a minute now. I'm not talking about some people. I'm talking about the Bible. The blessing of Abraham.
I'm not talking about some people. I'm talking about the Bible. Wait a minute now. I'm talking about the Bible. The blessing of Abraham from the Lord. The fuck, bro? You a descendant of Abraham now? Abram?
Are you saying that Jewish people appreciate money more than... Really?
They believe in wealth.
Some people would find that offensive.
Wait a minute now. I'm not talking about some people. I'm talking about the Bible. The blessing of Abraham. Abraham was extremely wealthy, and he had a covenant with God. It's not the Jewish blessing, it's the Abrahamic blessing. God, I get excited talking about it because I love it. And I started out deep in debt with nothing, which is another story. But anyway.
So you say that it's biblical and that there's a foundation in the Bible for this.
Let me close it with this. I had to learn this, like I said, from the Bible and from my spiritual mentor, Oral Roberts. And I learned it from him, working with him, and then he was close friends until he died. And he took the same heat for believing God would prosper you that I've taken over the years. And Abraham was a very, very wealthy man. Galatians chapter 3. If you belong to Christ, then are you Abraham's seed and heirs according to his promise. And his promise was great wealth.
The Bible also says that it's more difficult for a rich man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle, correct?
The rest of the scripture. But he said, all things are possible with God. And he said, if you study the Greek behind that, it's trusting in wealth. When he said that, his disciples said they were astonished out of measure because they were wealthy men. They were astonished out of measure, saying, how can anyone be saved? He said, all things are possible.
Both of my grandfathers were preachers. They were both very poor. They lived simple, modest lives. They were extremely offended by men that made money like you do, preaching like you do. What would your response be to people that think that preachers shouldn't live this kind of a lifestyle?
They're wrong.
Both my grandfathers.
He already told you.
I understand that. And I love them with all my heart.
No, you don't.
It's your grandfathers that we're standing on their shoulders. They held up and they stood for it. Glory to God. But when you go back to the Bible,
go back to the Bible. The Bible says
it's full of wealth. And it's full of miracles and signs and wonders.
Wonders.
And it's full of goodness. And it's full of meanness. It's just full of hell on earth. Those are the demons, not the people.
Those are the demons.
I love the people.
Again, getting back to Sir, thank you so much for your time today. Lisa Guerrero.
Lisa, God bless. Father bless Lisa today. Thank you for her grandparents. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to know her and to her team. And I pray and I believe her piece will be successful. I love Inside Edition. I love the people on it. And it thrills me to get a chance to have my face on Inside Edition.
Thank you very much, Reverend. You have a nice day.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your patience.
I'm actually surprised he did talk that long, though.
Of this new free app are hoping to make.
But the whole thing was pretty creepy. Pretty creepy. Snobbiest people. Lord help me. I want Lisa fired. What's your name? Lisa Guerrero. Lord Jesus, rebuke this demon in your Father's name.
Self-driving cars are really big at CES this year, but one stands out in particular to me because of its potential for investment. And that's because of the
that you'll see in this video is in my new book, Lost Ancient Technology of Egypt, Volume 2, at Amazon.com. Now, everything you're going to see in this video could not have been done by the dynastic Egyptians, such as the lid of this granite box. You can see those striations, which are clearly saw marks. And there's no way that that was a copper saw or bronze saw with silica sand being used, because silica sand is about the same hardness as the granite itself. So it had to have been a saw of a harder material, likely diamond, or possibly something even more exotic than that. This is located in a dark corner of the museum in Cairo, likely because the authorities don't want you to see it, but there it is. And then we also have other large stone boxes that some people call sarcophagi, but this one's intriguing in that it was damaged during its construction. You notice the two circular saw marks there? And so obviously this was a series of two powered saws parallel to one another that were running, and then accidentally the saw blade on top began to cut deeper into the box and caused the lid to simply snap off. And so whoever was making the box simply abandoned the project. Also notice that the front of the saw blade is thinner than the sides. It's quite curious. And I'm sure all of you have seen at least photographs of this, which is called the schist disc, located in the Cairo Museum. It's about 2 to 2.5 feet in diameter, and unfortunately it was badly repaired by the authorities. It was found at Saqqara, along with 30,000 to 40,000 hard stone bowls. Now you see the 3 lobes on it. They're not angled, so it's not as if it was pushing or pulling water. It clearly rotated around the central axis, but what its original function was is unknown. It is not what the authorities call a lotus bowl. Obviously, it's a piece of some kind of machine. Some of the turned bowls, very, very hard stone. Again, there are not 30 or 40 of them, but between 30,000 and 40,000 of them were found at Saqqara by the archaeologist Emery. And again, that's also where the schist disc was found, in a cache under one of the pyramids. And what this thing was, I have no idea, but I can tell you that the stone is quartzite, which is 7 out of 10 in terms of hardness, so it could not have been made by the dynastic Egyptians, and it shows curious burn marks on it. Now this is the top of a very large granite box, and here you can clearly see tube drill holes. Again, this could not have been achieved by copper or bronze drill bits with sand being used as an abrasive. And now we're at Abydos, and this is the enigmatic Osirion, located underground. It was rediscovered in the 19th century. Large quartzite blocks in the background, and then the square pillars that you see here in the foreground are granite, which likely came from Aswan, which is several hundred miles away. And the blocks weigh up to 60 tons apiece. Looks like catastrophic damage happened here as well. So we'll see lots of examples of ancient catastrophic damage, not done by invading armies, but by natural events.
God is greater, soon they shall
And
know.
the somewhat famous light bulbs.
Is that supposed to be a
in
haiku
Pandora.
or something? I'm just saying.
Were they actual light bulbs? They look very much like what are called Crookes tubes. Nobody honestly knows what they originally were.
All right, do you guys think there has been a global civilization that is just as, if not more, technologically advanced than we currently are at some prehistoric date in the past that we really can't dig back to? That was a mouthful. I mean, people have generated simulations of what the Earth would look like, you know, if we weren't here. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen those videos. Earth 100 years after humans. Earth 1,000 years after humans. Like 10,000 years after we're gone, with no activity anywhere from the human species, our civilization would literally crumble and fall. Like, most structures don't hold up, you know, for a very long time. And the reason that we do have these ancient cities is because they built everything out of fucking stone, and we don't build like that anymore. We have concrete, which is porous, and metals and irons that rust away, and like our civilizations and the structures that we built won't last as long as some of the ancient constructions. So just imagine if there was something like this, you know, 1 million years ago, and their civilization reached their peaks and maxed out and, you know, crumbled away, and all their technology would have just, you know, disintegrated with the hands of time, basically, to the point where there's very little or no evidence left that, you know, such an advanced culture ever existed. But then we still find some locations and structures and carvings and stonework that just look too suspicious. Just a little too suspicious. Like, wait. Look like somebody did that shit with a tool, like a power tool. That's stone? What kind of stone? Diorite. That sounds like diamond. Oh, it's next to diamond? It's the next one from diamond is and they drilled a hole in that shit? So you would have to have a diamond bit drill to drill through diorite. When? 12,000 years ago? But then if you believe that, then you gotta believe the Anunnaki, and if you believe that, then you gotta believe the earth is flat, and if you believe this, so let me stop. 9/11 was an inside job. And then you start believing all the conspiracies. It's the hollow earth, it's the hollow flat earth theory. Yo, that's my new... What if I do a series of paintings on weird ass conspiracies? The hollow earth theory combined with the flat earth theory. The hollow flat earth theory. It's like I don't know, it's like the hole in the cartoons where they just can pick the hole up off the floor and slap it to the wall and then jump through it, or pull it off the wall and slap it to the floor and let the bad guy fall in the hole. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, because God doesn't know what he's doing. I'm going to make some people. All right, this is going nice. It's going good. Wait. Oh, the angels is fucking the people. Oh, God damn it, man. Look, y'all done made some damn giants. Shit. All right, look, man, I'm going to just start over real quick, because I knew this was going to happen. This was a part of my plan. But let me start over anyway, since y'all done fuck my humans, messed my whole thing up, man. I ain't meant for it to go. I mean, I did mean for it to go like this. That's exactly what I planned for. So that you can see my might and my power. Reign! Reign! God's a dickhead. Oh, y'all want to build a tower? A tall tower? To reach the heavens? Where, my nigga? You try to build a tall tower to reach me, my nigga? You know what? I'ma smash your damn tower. Fuck all y'all. You know, and you know what? I'm babble. I'm gonna babble your damn tongues. Now what? Now y'all can't understand each other. And I'm gonna spread y'all all across the earth. Y'all ain't no gang no more, nigga. You go over there, you go over there, you go over there. Now, don't never talk to nobody again. And y'all try to build another tall tower to reach me. See what happened. I'm God, bitch. Alright, that's kind of how I envision God to be. Oh, scary ass motherfucker. Oh. Adam and Eve ate the fruit. Now they're like us. We gotta kick them out the garden. unless they eat from the tree of life, and then they will live until time indefinite. No. And then God want to come down and get in the wrestling matches with motherfuckers and shit and break they damn thigh bones or whatever. Like, huh? Huh? How you wrestling motherfuckers, guy? What up with you? This nigga ain't got no car. He just be walking everywhere. You just walk up on Abraham. Oh, it's you, my lord. Man, y'all can't fly or nothing. You God, nigga. Everybody just walking through the garden, walking on the road to Damascus, and niggas just walk. Man, if you was God, couldn't you like giving us some technology or something, man? We ain't gotta walk. Now, didn't you know technology was coming? I'ma just say that for y'all in the future. Cars. Anyway. I think the Bible's done. The first language is numbers. My man, you have it right. And the first number was what? What's the first number? .14. Huh? Yeah? That's the first number, right? This nigga said 01, 01, 01, 01, 01, 01. 01, 01, 01, 01. 3.14 is everything had to come from the original cipher or the circle, which has 360 degrees, which still started at 1 or 0. I don't know. I just confused myself just now. Stop it. I hate math. You need to learn math, Travis. You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time. Bitch, you're wrong. I do think God is the supreme mathematics which governs our physical reality. We have pi and the golden ratio, and there's certain sequences that just make things work. We're still trying to understand and describe some of these phenomena, but they're so abstract. Even though they're in our physical reality, they're still abstract concepts in a way, so we have to use numbers which are abstract in themselves, because what is a 2 or what is the number 3? You can't reach out in space and be like, oh, that's a number 3 right there. No, but we associate the number with a grouping of things that we can visually see. So we have to use abstract concepts to describe abstract concepts. Is that abstract enough for you? Shit. Yeah, so we're here because we exist because of math. And I hate math, but thanks math and numbers. Oh, my bad. We were listening to something? The Matrix.
Example of electricity, maybe, but unknown. We're at Luxor and compare the size of the people walking with those giant seated figures. Originally, those figures each were made out of one solid piece of stone, either syenite or granite, and they could not have been made by the dynastic Egyptians. This huge obelisk, which is also located at Luxor, one solid piece of granite. It could very well be that the hieroglyphs were added later during dynastic times. Or at Saqqara. Saqqara is a huge ancient site. That is the pyramid of Djoser in the background, likely one of the earliest of the pyramids, based on the dynastic Egyptians studying the Great Pyramid, which preceded the dynastic Egyptians. And look at the size of this shaft, of which there are many, located at Saqqara, deep in the bedrock. And this is quite curious and could be cataclysm heat evidence. Notice the color of the limestone tends to be kind of whitish, but the upper layers are yellow and even brown had been applied in the distant past. Now let's go underground. This, I believe, is called the Pyramid of Ti, open to the public. Going down, you see the rubble on the left, which probably is dynastic work, and then these beautiful, almost perfectly flat blocks of limestone. And as we descend further down, this was in March of 2018, walk back through, these giant slabs are granite. Once again, likely from Aswan, and the exterior of the pyramid, again, which I have in another video, shows cataclysmic heat damage, as if the casing stone was literally burned and blown off the surface.
You know what, bro? You know what? Bro, you know what? I was watching some streams last night. No, I went to go watch some streams last night. I went to the top streams. Of course, like, all of them are fucking Fortnite. And then you had, like, one or two Black Ops. And then Mortal Kombat 11. I watched somebody play that shit. And so I left out the top streams and went to the game section, and scrolling down in the game list, seeing what games are most streamed. Fortnite is at the fucking top, and then Apex Legends, and then Black Ops, and then something else, and then something else, and then Detroit Become Human. I'm like, a lot of people are streaming that game that came out fucking last year sometime. Like, I did not think to check PlayStation Plus for free games. I'm gonna go down. Yo, there is a TV show. I cannot think of the TV show that this game is based on a TV show. And there's this exact same setup where it's an older functioning unit, and it's this guy's helper. He doesn't want to give it up. Damn, now you got me thinking about that. I can't even paint right now. It might have been the TV show called Humans. I'm not sure.
There are two kinds of people in this world. Ones who see this painting and think, genius. And ones who think, how did Jackson Pollock get so overrated? Wait a second, Jackson. There are two kinds of people in this world. Ones who see this painting and think, genius. And ones who think, how did Jackson Pollock get so overrated? Wait a second, Jackson.
I always wondered how the fuck you get so overrated. This is genius. He dripped paint all over this canvas, and it was like dripping and stuff. Incredible. It's brilliant material. Brilliant. This guy's a genius. No. Excuse me, what did you say? I said no. He's I think he was being lazy, maybe. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna just try something real quick. Feedback, anybody? I love it. Alright, I'm gonna do some more of that. Some of this splattered, drippy shit. Ooh, trippy. Motherfucker was probably on acid or something, man. Good opium and shit. You know, back in the day. You know, so it's all cool, bro. It's all cool. It's a little bit of coke, man. You know. I can imagine me on drugs and trying to create art. Holy shit. You can imagine me on some fucking coke or some kind of pills or some shit. Some fucking, some heroin. Bro, got some straight opium from Chinatown. Gonna do this new painting, dude. Like, no. What are you gonna do? I'm just like sling some paint at the canvas and see what happens. Like I'm fighting the canvas with paint. That's fucking stupid. And I mean, I'm entitled to my own fucking opinion. Shit, I think it's fucking stupid. Most of it. I think it's cool. I ain't gonna say I think it's stupid, yo. I think it's cool, but it's definitely overrated. Like, you're a genius. Bro, my kid's sister could have did that. Don't sit here and fucking play me. It's cool, you know, the colors, the motion, the emotion. I get it. I get it. I dig that part, you know. But, you know, somebody in middle school can do just as good, no training at all, you know, no formal art background, you know, since we're going on how we feel, shit. Yeah, that Altered Carbon was a good show. They had the stacks. I just put my stack in the new sleeve. And the grandma was in the biker dude's body. And kind of find out his sister was in on the shit. It's like, what the fuck? But that is weird, like a world where you don't have to die if you don't really want to. All you gotta do is have, you know, enough money for another sleeve. And like say motherfuckers live so long and then have so many fucking sleeves, it's like you get fucking disjointed within your own self.
I am actually the first type. The type that really likes you. Don't put that cigarette out in my eye. I love abstract expressionism, and I love Pollock. When I see Pollock in person, I am full-on Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What time is it? But even fans like me have to admit that Pollock brings up questions. Questions beyond snark about why Jackson Pollock's studio floor looks identical to his paintings. Why is Pollock the one who gets his paintings put under a microscope? Why does Pollock get to be Ed Harris's passion project? There's one answer that's beyond the paint. This is artist Lee Krasner, Jackson Pollock's wife, and Jackson, enjoying time in Springs, New York. But it's the man in between them who might be the key to understanding how Jackson Pollock became a legend. Here's a young Jackson Pollock at his mentor Thomas Hart Benton's house. Yep, he has a drink in his hand. Most people agree Pollock's big break came in 1943 with Mural, which he painted for heiress Peggy Guggenheim. It's got bold colors and motion. Pollock later said it was like a stampede of every animal in the American West. Pollock's birthplace of Cody, Wyoming helped sell that. Later, he pioneered placing the canvas on the ground and throwing paint down at it. That helped him become a mainstream success with Life magazine articles and Vogue fashion shoots, with his paintings in the background, as well as the classic icon building, hands name it, film and photos that showed the brooding cowboy artist at work.
I usually paint on the floor. I enjoy working on a large canvas.
But here's the problem. If you don't get Jackson Pollock, it's not that straightforward. Why was he the one who made it big in a crowded field? In 1951, Life magazine published an article about all the big art stars in America. There are a lot of future museum staples in there, like Mark Rothko, de Kooning, and Clifford Still. But Pollock, he's in the middle. To understand why, you've got to return to the center of that other picture. In 1933, Clement Greenberg, friends called him Clem, was a necktie salesman. He became the most influential art critic of the 20th century. In a small New York art scene where artists and critics partied together, that made him an eye on a hidden world. It's important to put into context how influential Greenberg was thanks to articles in the Partisan Review and The Nation. Let's use Ferris Bueller as an example. Millions of people know every scene of this movie, but not as many know that it's a John Hughes movie. Now, any movie fan knows that John Hughes was the teen movie god, but many movie watchers just don't. And that's a little like Clement Greenberg. He was enormously influential in the art world, but remains obscure to a wider audience. He broke through with the 1939 essay, Avant-Garde and Kitsch, in which he proposed that art was a bulwark against mass culture. He was a newbie to art. That Avant-Garde and Kitsch essay referenced a painting that didn't exist. Later, in a famous mistake, he said this painting had orange and purple in it. It doesn't. If you knew that artist Piet Mondrian narrowed himself to primary colors, the blooper is even worse. Still, some painters respected him. Robert Motherwell said, "I disagreed with him about many things, but he had a painter's eye." And none of the other critics did. Not one. So as a direct intuition, he got it right off the bat. That eye advanced an aggressive vision of modern painting that said the buzz wasn't in Paris, but New York. And the perfect American? A cowboy who happened to look a lot like Clement Greenberg. Okay, that's a little unfair. But seriously, this is like that meme, you versus the guy she told you not to worry about. And it's true that Greenberg's abrasive, American-centric, hyper-masculine view of art worked better with Pollock than with a Dutch immigrant like de Kooning, who noodled over his paintings obsessively. In his essay, American Type Painting, Greenberg wrote that Pollock was alone in his power to assert a paint-strewn or paint-linen surface as a single synoptic image. Pollock pulverized the canvas. When he changed his mind, he made violent repentance. Throughout the 1940s, Greenberg and Pollock rose together, while slightly less renowned critics popped up around them. Greenberg was the brain, Pollock was the soul. This cheerleading from 1947 was typical, in which Greenberg called Pollock radically American and the most powerful painter in contemporary America. That praise bubbled to the mainstream. That Life magazine article from 1948, the one that made Pollock as mainstream as the cheese platter ad on the next page, the entire basis for that article was a formidably highbrow New York critic. The New York art scene knew that was Clement Greenberg, but the rest of the country saw the new star at the top of the page. Helen Frankenthaler didn't drip paint like Jackson Pollock. She soaked and stained her canvases, resulting in haunting images like mountains and sea. This is her in the middle, with Jackson Pollock, Clement Greenberg, and Lee Krasner. Greenberg and Frankenthaler saw each other for about 5 years. Frankenthaler later said that her dating Greenberg was one of the reasons that he rarely wrote about her work. Greenberg helped make museum names out of Clifford Still and Barnett Newman and Mark Rothko, but he missed many movements and artists. That had consequences. Frankenthaler is a legend, a mainstream name, but she's famous the way Clement Greenberg is famous, not the way Jackson Pollock is. And she is kind of a symbol for all the artists whose careers Greenberg made or overlooked. One critic shaped how we look at a half-century of painting. If Pollock was overrated, Clement Greenberg was the one doing it. We just followed his lead. So what is the correction here? It's not to discount Jackson Pollock, it's to give more attention to those other abstract expressionists as well, and to know the critic who decided which names we'd learn. With that in mind, maybe it's possible to come up with more than just Jackson Pollock's name. Anyone? 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 So, if you want to learn more about Klimt, I really recommend Florence Rubenfeld's book about him. It gives you an entire new angle on a half-century of American art, and it features a surprising number of fistfights.
With advanced automotive technology available on the Nissan Road, you'll be equipped.
Went up for auction at Sotheby's London. A few weeks ago, a work by British street artist Banksy went up for auction at Sotheby's London. Moments after the auctioneer banged his gavel announcing its sale for over $1.3 million, a beep sounded and the canvas began to fall through the bottom of the frame and emerge in shreds on the other side. Just after, Banksy posted a picture of it with the caption, "Going, going, gone," and then followed up with a video showing how he installed a shredder in the frame in case it ever went up for auction. Sotheby's claimed they had no idea this was going to happen and had been Banksy'd. And the buyer was anonymous, which is common in auctions. After a week when media conjecture had run dry over who knew about it and would the buyer have to pay for it, Sotheby's put out a press release explaining that what actually happened was that a new work by Banksy had been created at the auction, one that's been authenticated by the artist and given the new title Love is in the Bin. After that, Banksy released a director's cut explaining that in rehearsals, the painting shredded fully every time, including some vertical video to firmly place the rehearsals in the recent past, proving both that he's a master manipulator and that his word cannot be trusted. Okay, but let's take a closer look at what this work actually is. Banksy first painted the image of a child reaching out toward a red heart-shaped balloon in London in 2002. This one with the inscription, "There is always hope." Other versions were made around the city, but none of the original murals remain, because this, like most of Banksy's work, was unsanctioned street art, made without permission, for the public to enjoy and for property owners or city government to paint over or protect as they see fit. Individuals can and have tried to remove and resell his public art, but for the most part, Banksy's work has been fleeting and free, and is actively planned to be that way by its creator. The heart balloon appeared alone in 2013, with bandages in Brooklyn, and also with kids standing on a pile of guns at a Central Park art stall, on sale for $60. In 2014, he reworked the Girl with Balloon image in support of the With Syria campaign, explaining the red balloon carries the girl above and away from the chaos below, beyond the burnt-out buildings and bullet-potted walls. Also in 2014, Justin Bieber had the image tattooed on his arm. A version with a Union Jack balloon surfaced in 2017, in a print Banksy tried to give away to UK citizens in some constituencies if they voted against the Conservative Party. But since it's illegal to accept a gift in return for a vote, the offer was rescinded, and a few days later he posted this. In a 2017 poll, Girl with Balloon beat out both this painting by JMW Turner and this one by David Hockney to claim the title of the UK's favorite artwork. This is all to say that by the time the work in question arrived at auction, it was a well-loved and widely recognizable image, estimated to sell for as much as about $400,000 US. The auction report shares that it's not a multiple but a unique work, made in 2006 with Banksy's signature method of stenciled spray paint, but this time on canvas instead of on a wall, or as a print on paper. It was authenticated by Pest Control, the handling service that acts on the artist's behalf and authenticates his work. Sotheby's claims it was acquired directly from the artist by the unnamed present owner the year it was made, following a show he organized of his work in an LA warehouse. And it came in that gilded frame. Ah, the frame, which Sotheby's states was, quote, chosen by Banksy himself. Gold frames are one of the artist's favorite motifs. In conjunction with that same LA warehouse show, he released a print that clearly expresses his dubiousness of the auction process, and even presented it in a ridiculous gold frame. And for his 2009 exhibition at the Bristol Museum, Banksy mixed his works in with the museum's collection, many of them in period-appropriate frames, helping his art blend in, at least sort of. One of these was a gold frame laid over a concrete slab with one stick figure asking, "Does anyone really take this kind of art seriously?" and another replying, "Never underestimate the power of a big gold frame." A year later, this image appeared on a wall in San Francisco, clearly demonstrating the uneasy situation Banksy has found himself in, as his profile has risen and more people try to benefit off of unauthorized sales and exhibitions of his work. Now, I find it unlikely that no one at Sotheby's knew what was going to happen with this big gold frame, or that anyone inspecting it would find nothing suspicious about it. I also find it unconvincing that Banksy's video showing his frame construction was made back in 2006. Or that it's coincidental that it was the last lot in the auction. Banksy very well could have been the prior owner. Sotheby's doesn't have to disclose that information. Regardless, what happened indicates very strongly that people really do take this kind of art seriously. They probably would have even if it hadn't been in the gold frame. But they're certainly taking it even more seriously now that the frame has revealed itself to be an integral part of the work. When he posted his video, Banksy included the quote by Picasso, "The urge to destroy is also a creative urge." And Banksy certainly isn't the first artist to incorporate destruction in art making. Man Ray made his first indestructible object in 1923, an altered metronome that the viewer is instructed to smash when they've reached, quote, the limit of endurance. Robert Rauschenberg is famous for his 1953 erased Willem de Kooning drawing, and Nikki de Saint-Phal for her 1961 exhibition, in which she asked visitors to fire at her relief paintings with a .22 caliber rifle. There are many ways a work of art comes into being, be it an additive process, a subtractive process, one that must unfold in space and time, or one that's immaterial, not existing until the moment it's performed, and then disappearing as soon as it's over. Girl with Balloon was one artwork, and now it's another, that came into being through a public action, but which still very much has a material presence, because the object wasn't destroyed. It's only half shredded, and since it was canvas going through, the remaining fringe is pretty stable. I can totally see an art packer carefully crafting a crate that will keep it safe and sound until its next exhibition. It really only got more interesting when shredded. Editioned prints or paintings of Banksy's images, even if sanctioned by the artists, are all right, but they certainly don't have the subversive power or presence of his art made in and for the public arena. His gilt frames had served the purpose of emphasizing the artificiality of putting these images meant for the public into private hands. But now one of those frames has revealed itself to be an agent of insurrection, however incomplete its act of destruction. And the art world loves being questioned and criticized. It's weird, it's almost like a kind of high-class negging, which they've even given their own academic-sounding term. Institutional critique is what they call the art that actively critiques the structures it lives in and that make it possible, like museums or galleries, or in this case, an auction house. It became a thing after institutions started to collect more ephemeral and performative works made by artists in the 60s and 70s, by artists strategically trying to avoid the traditional spaces for art. But no matter, museums were happy to matriculate these evasive works and include them in their histories of art. And in many cases, people proved willing to buy them too. And so it's not at all surprising when something as straightforwardly material as this work by Banksy can fetch such a high price at auction. And it's not surprising either when its collector is willing to accept its transformed and likely even more valuable state, especially now that post-action, it embodies some aspect of the subversion that makes Banksy Banksy. It can actually live more comfortably in an exhibition now than it could before, hanging half in and out of its frame, telling its own history of Banksy's shenanigans. But there's also another important element of this work that we might be overlooking, and that's the publicity and press that has swirled around it, which I'd argue is as much a part of the work as what went down at Sotheby's. Banksy is brilliant at attracting attention and generating controversy. His anonymity is part of that, and something I hope never goes away. With this work, he draws attention to the auction process in general, which is followed closely only by an extremely tiny community. Most of us see headlines about multi-million-dollar sales, feel nauseous, and then move on. The auction system in its current form survives in part because most people aren't paying attention to it. It's a highly efficient way for the international uber-rich to buy and trade valuable assets. Sure, some are in the game for good reasons, but Banksy's action has made us all more aware of a few key facts. People are willing to pay ungodly sums of money for art these days. With rare exceptions, none of that money goes to the artists. These are secondary sales, meaning one owner is selling to another. Most artists are completely powerless when their work goes to auction. To take back some of that power, you might have to get your hands a little dirty, like when Damien Hirst orchestrated his own direct-to-auction sale in 2008, and like this recent stunt by Banksy, which may or may not have been executed with the cooperation of Sotheby's. Whether or not we assume what Banksy says is true, which we really shouldn't, Love is in the Bin still reminds us of the convoluted power structures that vie for what art and which artists get anointed as important and valuable. We like Banksy's work because it helps us see the gross power imbalances all around us, even if they're imperfect and temporary and corruptible by outside forces. Or perhaps we love them more because of those things. Banksy may seem like less of the pure countercultural rebel he once was, but I for one appreciate these recent attempts at effecting change, however small, from the inside, or at least with one foot in and one foot out, able to capture money from sales that will happen with or without his blessing, and perhaps apply those proceeds to new work in the future. I, for one, will be looking out for some very public $1.3 million expenditures from Banksy in the not-too-distant future. I'll leave it to him to surprise me. Do you want to know more about money so you can maybe buy a Banksy one day? 2 Cents is a PBS Digital Studios series about money and you. Financial experts and husband and wife team Philip Olson and Julia Lorenz Olson guide you through the complex world of personal finance. You'll get practical knowledge and insight into how your brain is hardwired to react to economic problems. Check the link in the description below to subscribe to 2 Cents. Thanks to all of our patrons for supporting the art assignment, especially Vincent Appa and Indianapolis Homes Realty. Visit patreon.com/artassignment if you'd like to learn more about how you can support the channel.
Okay. I'm gonna put something on to listen to in a second here. Purple Punch, damn.
In order to understand the many lies that have been given to us over time, we must be educated on the truth. A main part of my ministry is to educate so that lies can be truly seen and bondage to be broken. Many people are against Christianity for many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is they don't understand the history behind it. So my next series of videos will be educating my viewers on the history of religion. In an effort to keep the time down, it's just a summary, so if there's something left out or that you don't understand, please leave it in the comments and I'll try to answer it if I can. Let's begin. To begin to understand, we need to start with the beginning of major beliefs. This brings us to Mesopotamia, also known as ancient Babylon. You see, most people that talk against Christianity, most of the time will tell you that Christianity stole their beliefs from ancient Egypt. When anyone says this, it shows a clear lack of understanding of the truth and historic fact. First, the Christianity they're referring to is not Christianity, but Roman Catholicism. Two very different things that historic record and simple understanding of doctrine easily proves. Now, for those with extensive knowledge, let me just point out that I understand we can go further with all this, all the way to Cain and Abel and the mark of Cain. But this video is a brief synopsis, like I said earlier. My goal of the video is to give a basis and foundation in which anyone else that wants to understand can build from. So, this foundation starts post-flood in the first known civilization, Mesopotamia. The mystery religion of ancient Babylon is the beginning of paganism. This period begins after the great flood that destroyed man. The mystery religion has been told in many different stories, through many millenniums. It consists of a lot of names of many different gods that are in fact all actually the same gods. Different cultures, different times, different languages, but all the same story, figures, and structure. This is one reason why people try to include Christianity into this. The problem is they're just missing key information. Now, to clarify and explain in the simplest of terms what the mystery religion of Babylon is, it's simply polytheism and or paganism. You've heard this in school. Polytheism is a belief in many gods. The true knowledge of the goal of these gods was only given to the few. These people were the high priests and priestess that passed down the religions. They required the sacrifice of the gods, and they were the only ones able to commune with the gods. They held the secret knowledge, which gave them power over the ones who did not have the knowledge. If someone knew about the sun, and when an eclipse would occur, they would seem as if they could control it. The people would then worship and follow that man. This is a simple explanation, but you should get the point from it. In polytheism, in most cultures, you will see the same structure. One man who was God, one virgin woman who was the mother of God, and a son of the mother who was impregnated from the male God. There's Father God, Mother God, and the Son of God.
Valvoline is the only motor oil brand with a dedicated engine lab. And here, we test everything.
And this is what paganism is. It always follows this structure. And this story started in Mesopotamia, ancient Babylon. So here's the story. Let me just mention that this record is not just supported through the Bible, which only covers it very basically, but comes from the very foundation of Freemasonry and many other books. The difference between me and the majority of naysayers, I will cite sources. You'll see a list of them in the description below. So anyone who discredits this information, please make sure you do the same and cite your sources. After the flood, it was Noah's family chosen to repopulate the earth. He had 3 sons, Shem, Japheth, and Ham. The story of paganism comes from the line of Ham. Noah's grandson Cush came from the line of Ham. He did the complete opposite of what God commanded. God commanded them to flourish the earth and worship him. Cush became a leader, though, bringing people all together to live under him. You can see the lines of Ham, Shem, and Japheth in Genesis chapter 10. You see, a lot of times when reading the Bible, We can often skip over this information. But to understand things, you must follow the bloodlines. That's why it's given to us. So back to the story. Cush promoted a pure rebellion against God, leading to the creation and building of the Tower of Babel. They wanted to ascend into heaven and defeat God. They wanted to build a structure that if Yahweh ever decided to flood the earth again, they would be able to live through it. They all spoke in one language and decided rather than move away from each other, they could build a kingdom for their own dominion to challenge God. The Tower of Babel is a very important symbol in the occult world. It illustrates rebellion against God and masculinity. They all look the same, hence the erect building. An example of this would be an obelisk like the Washington Monument. The Bible does not explain in detail what was going on with Cush and his followers. All that we know is that he was rebellious and led people to be rebellious as well by building the Tower of Babel. When God came down and saw what it was they were doing, he was not happy. He decided to confuse their languages that no one could understand what either was saying. They were not able to communicate with each other. The building of the tower had stopped. God confused their language, creating the name Babel. Cush was disgraced. So far what you should have gained from this after the flood was there are three lines, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. We know that Shem's line came to be the line of Israel, King David, and Jesus. We know that from the line of Ham, the rebellion against God began again. Now after Cush, there was Nimrod, Cush's son. Nimrod was a very powerful hunter. He was mighty. He was also very determined to finish the plan his father started. He conquered all animals and then men. He became leader of the Assyrian Babylonian Empire. Nimrod is the beginning of all the stories that have been passed down over the time about the gods that everyone refers to when denouncing Christianity. His story has developed and transformed him into a god. It all starts with him. Following the occult will lead back to him, but still goes further back to Canaan. Either way, it's his story that must be understood to understand what the minds of pagans believe. Nimrod communicated with the spirit world, which guided him to complete great accomplishments like the Tower of Babel. He obtained occult knowledge that gave him power over their people. Nimrod started the first world government, where they all practiced the same religion and were governed under him. They performed human sacrifices and he was in control. They worshipped him as God because he outright challenged Yahweh. Nimrod found rebellion only from his uncle Shem, Noah's other son. Shem abhorred the abominations that Nimrod and Cush had done. Shem followed the commands of God. He plotted with other conspirators and killed Nimrod. More than just killed Nimrod, they cut him up in pieces and sent the pieces to all the different cities that were under Nimrod's rule. Shem did this to show that Nimrod was not a god, and for the people to stop what they were doing and start worshiping and obeying the God of his father, Noah. His followers were nervous and frightened. It was obvious that Nimrod was not a god, and his father was already defeated. They did not know where to go from there. And that's where the next part of the story brings the real twist and connection. The answer actually came from a woman, the whore. But just recapping, the story of Nimrod is very simple to understand. A man in the beginning claiming power over other people, claiming himself to be God. It's a simple, easy concept to get. The real twist starts, like I said, with the woman. This woman who comes into this picture is Semiramis. Semiramis was the first wife of Cush. She also was the mother of Nimrod. She claimed to be divinely born. After Cush lost power, in order to stay in power, she did the unthinkable thing, in our modern opinion. She married her son Nimrod. Then shortly after Nimrod was killed, she became pregnant and found another way to stay in power. She told the people it was the spirit of Nimrod that impregnated her. She claimed she was having a virgin birth from the spirit of Nimrod. Semiramis slept with no man and was impregnated by Nimrod's spirit, she claimed. Nimrod was now a father and Semiramis was the mother. This is the start and the beginning of father and mother god worship. It is the primary driver of polytheism, but most people will never make the actual connection. You see, Semiramis was able to convince Nimrod's followers that her son was the fulfillment of God's prophecy about Jesus in Genesis 3:15. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. The people believe that her son will be the savior to defeat the serpent. Reality being, it was actually the serpent they'd be worshiping. She managed to convince her followers that Nimrod did not die, but he ascended to the sun. She claimed it was the rays of the sun god, Nimrod, that caused her to conceive. He was now to be worshipped now as Baal, the sun god. She made herself a goddess, claiming that she was divinely created. She was in fact the moon goddess. She had them believe she came down to the earth from the moon in a giant moon egg that fell into the Euphrates River. The Queen of Babylon, aka Madonna, aka Semiramis, became known as the moon goddess Ishtar, which can be pronounced as
Excuse me, sir. Only pay for what you need with Liberty Mutual. Thanks.
God reborn. And he was born on the winter solstice. This is where you get the Madonna portrait from, where you see the mother god holding the son of God. Later, Tammuz was killed by a wild pig. Semiramis, now Ishtar, said he ascended to the sun like his father, and now are a union. After Nimrod, Semiramis continued on with their worship and sacrifices. But because of Shem and their constant defeat by God, they changed their approach. What was once done out in the open will now be done in secret. All practices driven from Cush and Nimrod, stemming from the channeling of spirits, will now be done in the dark. It would now become a mystery, only completely revealed to those worthy, the high priests and priestesses. Based from the story of Nimrod, the mystery religion was created. This religion spread among the different ancient empires of Babylon, Egypt, Persia, Greece, and Rome. This is what paganism is, the purest definition of it. Paganism is the collection of all polytheistic beliefs centered around a central belief. The stories may change, the names of the gods may change, but there are always three central figures and a very specific structure. The father god, who is the sun god, the mother god, who is the moon goddess, and the son of God, who is the sun god reborn. Depending on what nation or culture you are from, they went by different names, but they all follow the same structure: father god, mother god, and son of God. This chart illustrates the god and goddess worship of the pagans of different cultures, empires, and religions. It can be quite confusing because there are many different names and stories depending on the nation, region, or culture, but this should give you a strong enough example. In Babylon, the sun god or father god was Nimrod, the moon goddess or mother god was Semiramis, and the son of God, the sun god reborn, was Tammuz. In Egypt, the sun god was Ra, the moon goddess was Isis, and the son of God was Horus. In Greece, the sun god was Zeus, the moon goddess was Artemis, and the son of God was Adonis. In Rome, the sun god was Jupiter, the moon goddess was Diana, and the son of God was Apollo. In Nordic culture, that's the Vikings, the sun god is Odin, the moon goddess was Joro, and the son of God is Thor. In Hindu, the sun god was Vishnu, the moon goddess was Chandra, and the son of God was Krishna. In Roman Catholicism, now this is where most of the trouble and deception comes from, because the sun god is what many refer to as God, the moon goddess is the Virgin Mary, and the son of God is Jesus. Now this is not to get confused with the true story of Jesus. While we believe in Mary, we do not worship her as a goddess, and we don't refer to her as Mother God. There is only one true God. This is confusion that was put into the world by the Roman Catholic Church, who mix their pagan gods with the story of Yeshua. I will be doing a video to show the evidence. The main point is though Satan has strategically created the same story, there are significant differences. It's impossible not to see the connection from all the stories of these gods and goddesses. The easiest distinction you'll find when identifying pagan worshipers is they worship both Father and Mother God. If there is both a masculine and feminine God in their belief system, then they are pagan. And that was and is the predominant belief in the world from the ancient times. This is what religion was founded upon. There were many other gods, but there was always a hierarchy, and this god structure was at the top. This whole belief system was only challenged by the Israelites, who claimed they were in communication and the chosen people of the one true God. The battle of monotheism versus polytheism then became fully in effect. One God versus many gods. Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz were immortalized and then worshipped. Their names being different, but underlying point of the story is clear. Now, with all these sun gods and moon goddesses, another similarity is that they all were birthed from the same father. This father is the ultimate God. He has told the lie that he is the creator and bearer of light, of knowledge. He is the Father God, like referenced earlier. He is the main connection that most people do not make. It's that all these names refer to actually one God. Satan, Lucifer, Baal, many other names. He had many different names in many different cultures. In Babylon, he was Baal. In Egypt, he was Ra. In Greece, he was Zeus. In Rome, he was Jupiter. In Hindu, he was Indra. In Israel, he was Molech. He was the founder of these religions and the ultimate hierarchy of the gods. This was the religion, but it all is Lucifer. Satan has both masculine and feminine qualities. The Most High does not. This pagan belief is all directed towards one goal. It was the goal that Cush and Nimrod both had from the beginning when they established an empire. The ultimate goal is rebellion against God. In order to defeat the Most High and have the world worship Baal as the father god, the mother god Ishtar will again have a virgin birth from Baal, birthing the savior, Baal reborn. This will bring about their rule and dominion again on earth. It's the same story over and over. Regardless of the name of the god, the story and the prophecy are the same. This is the ultimate goal and main deception of Satan. This is where paganism starts, and the story will not end until their lie is complete. Now you must understand there are plenty that worship Satan as God already, knowing completely in whom they serve. But there is a majority that worship these three gods through other names. This needs to be understood that they are actually worshiping Satan through deception. Many of today's practices and traditions are centered around this deception. You now have a base foundation for stronger understanding and connections. Satan is the master deceiver. This is how he will unite the world to worship him. They already are. They've been doing it in his name through silence and secrecy for thousands of years. He has created many gods and beliefs centered around him that people all around the world accept and worship. People like to go back to the ancient days and refer to spirituality, but what they don't recognize is that these beliefs all center around Satan. It doesn't matter which God it is they choose, because if it's not true belief in Jesus Christ, the true one, not the one mixed in with the pagan beliefs, it will lead everyone to Satan. This is the part of the great deception. Like I said, there was only one challenge to the system and structure. There was only one line of people, one nation that said there was only one true God, and that there was no feminine nature to him either. He was
Wow, really? 2.5 hours already? Holy shit. pretty good though. Hotter than here now.
In this bed. Right. And Alfredo was right there. He was crying.
My bad. You know, Oreos make everything taste better. So, what are we getting into today? Anything? Who said we had airports in the 1700s? I gotta look that shit up now. We found out Trump done put his foot in his mouth again.
In 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army in June of 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army out of the revolutionary forces encamped around Boston and New York, and named after the great George Washington, Commander-in-Chief. The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the air, it ran the ramparts, it took over the airports, it did everything it had to do. And at Fort McHenry, under the rocket's red glare, it had nothing but victory. And when dawn came, their star-spangled banner waved defiant.
In 1775, they took over the airports and did everything they had to do.
Taking a nap at any point in the last couple of months, there's a good chance you've missed at least one U.S. threat to impose tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars.
Those tariffs were ready to go on Monday morning. We always have the option to raise it another $300 billion.
As part of the president's efforts to rewrite the global rules of trade and rebalance our trading relationships, he's imposed tariffs on almost every country in the world over the past year and a half. That includes our biggest trading partners, China, Canada, Mexico, and Europe. Recently, a lot has been happening. We're going to try to bring you up to speed. So let's start with our biggest trading partner, China. The U.S. imported about $540 billion of goods from China last year and exported about $120 billion, making it the biggest trading relationship of any two countries in the world. One of President Trump's big goals is to balance this relationship out. Last summer, he slapped 25% tariff on goods like machinery, commodities, semiconductors, and plastics. China retaliated, mostly on vehicles and agricultural products, especially soybeans. The U.S. hit back in the fall, this time with 10% tariffs on an additional $200 billion worth of products: furniture, handbags, luggage, and many computer and auto parts. China once again retaliated. In December, the U.S. and China called a truce, but it didn't last. The talks broke down in May, and the U.S. moved forward with plans to raise those 10% tariffs to 25%. China retaliated, and then the U.S. threatened to impose tariffs on everything else that comes in from China, an additional $300 billion of goods. So where do things stand now? President Trump and China's President Xi Jinping held a summit on June 29th, where they reached a truce for now.
We're going to work with China on where we left off to see if we can make a deal.
The U.S. will hold off on its final round of tariffs, but all the original rounds of tariffs will still remain. And if they can't get a deal, it's likely we'll be talking about tariffs again soon. But the trade tensions haven't just been with China. Canada and Mexico have also been in the U.S. crosshairs.
I have long contended that NAFTA was perhaps the worst trade deal ever made.
About $600 billion a year worth of trade flows between Canada and between Mexico and the United States each year. One of President Trump's big campaign goals was to rewrite the 25-year-old North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA. The talks started in 2017. But last year, when they weren't making progress quickly enough, President Trump imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from everyone in the world, including Mexico and Canada. And to further up the pressure, he threatened tariffs on the entire global automobile industry, about $372 billion worth of imports. Last summer, the three countries finally reached a new deal, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement.
Called USMCA, sort of just works, MCA.
But the deal doesn't go into effect until all three countries have ratified it. So far, only Mexico has done so. To ease the road to getting it passed, the U.S. did two things. First, it dropped the threat of auto tariffs against Canada and Mexico. And second, in May, it finally removed the tariffs against steel and aluminum. And Mexico and Canada removed their tariffs too. But then, things got complicated.
Mexico shouldn't allow millions of people to try and enter our country, and they could stop it very quickly. And I think they will. And if they won't, we're going to put tariffs on.
President Trump, citing too many migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border, threatened tariffs on everything the U.S.